Welcome to game night. We're getting ready here for the next chapter of Gold Road. It's going to be some fun stuff getting into the next chapter. As tonight we're going over what the new calendar is looking like, which is right here with the month. So tonight is Morndas. Kind of like when you think of like Saturday, Lordas. Some Laredos. Doritos. We got them for cake's sake. We're on Morndas. And right over here, we're looking to go over in Turturdos here tomorrow. How we're going to get over there, I don't know. But we got some stuff going on. Yeah, it's like, yeah, that was a good win on last couple of Morndas. All right, what are you gonna do on Turdos? That's something to think about. So what you can do is go over to ElderScrollsWiki.net and you can find the calendar. You can get the calendar for yourself, and then you can start drawing all over the calendar. Is like, all right, we're going to draw on the calendar. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over to Elder Scrolls Wiki to show you guys where you can find this. This is really sweet stuff. Okay, here's Wiki right here, as you guys see. Elder Scrolls Candle. I call it Elder Scrolls Candle. Elder Scrolls Calendar. This is in here, and this is a great thing. Why is this like this? Oh wow. Wow. So wait a minute. That's not what it looks like. Well, that's kind of strange. That is definitely strange. I'm going to go in the account here really quick and see what this looks like on the inside. That just does not look like some weird things have been going on. You know what I'm saying? That's weird. Okay, so I'm over here in Wiki right now. See what you guys see. Love you guys see what I'm seeing. So right over here, as you can see, the information for the calendar, which will soon you should be able to see this again. I don't know why this is like this right now. So when you go over into ElderScrollsWiki.net, I'm not sure why that's like that. But I'm gonna go over here and get out of Wiki here really quick and And this is just strange. So I'm over here in the literal site, but this is just not showing up. Well, that's odd. So we'll go back over here to the to the Elder Scrolls candle. So not sure why that is not showing up, but we have the calendar going as we are gearing towards understanding the days a little bit more. That's an important thing to understanding what current day it is, because the current day here locally is Monday, and what we go in with the Elder Scrolls is the term of Morndos, as you can kind of see right here. Current day. So those of you guys that live overseas, like places like over in Germany, it's not exactly Monday. You guys are living what's called Tuesday, and so what we need to kind of do is kind of come to a consensus on what day, and remembering the day is going to be an important thing with what what is said. So like a day that like currently, which is Morndos, it's Morndos in the United States, just as much as it's Morndos over in Norway. Do you understand kind of what I'm saying? It's Morndos. It's the same day, and this helps us learn a little bit more about the current days in Tamriel. So hopefully you guys are learning a little bit more about Elder Scrolls, and hopefully we'll start seeing those seeing that calendar in there in Elder Scrolls Wiki. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a quick break. Hopefully you guys are having a good game night. Oh, okay, I just got back. Looking at the monthly calendar here for Elder Scrolls. Looking at Elder Scrolls Wiki, the entire site is not functioning, just like some other sites that you might not understand of why some sites why they're not functioning currently. If you go to your regular site and you see some different things, it's just a connection issue. And so if you see something a little different on a different site, um, other than such as elderscrollswiki.net, what I'm explaining here is there's an issue inside of the internet to where there's problems where the writings are not the writings are compressed, and it's nothing we can do right now until we get the files to come out. No one actually knows how to uncompress the files, but by the little bits and pieces of information that we have. Not one person can go into an internet site and say and do this or do that. It takes everyone. Everyone has a little bits and pieces of knowledge of how to do these types of things. And so it's just going to take us some time to get these things in. If you remember the fifth version of Elder Scrolls, when when we were counting the days back in the days when we were, well, some of us might have considered that we were snow elves before. I've always had that thought that I was a Breton, like that I'm, and that's kind of why I'm a Breton character in the game of Elder Scrolls. What I'm explaining with the how the snow elves counted the days, how they learned how to count the days. They put buckets out and they counted the days by measuring the amount of water that came into the bucket of water, and that's how they counted the days. So with that, we've got to learn from that. And in here in the monthly calendar for the Elder Scrolls calendar, we can learn just like we learned back in the fifth version, where we're learning how to count the days in the bucket, so to speak, in the Elder Scrolls calendar. This is the only way we're going to be able to overcome the obstacle that we're facing right now. So looking over here, I have no idea. I'm just like, okay, well, Turdos is going to help that. Oh well, Fredas will make the connections. You see what I'm saying? And radio, like the sound waves, will just say, okay, well, here we're sending a future message from Fredos that's going over, that's being spoken on Morndos, which is today, which is going over to, we'll just say this is a part of Ice Scroll. Okay, you kind of see what I'm talking about with Ice Scroll. What this is like a beacon, or a beacon of light, so to speak. And what we have to do is we have to send out some rays of light, imaginary rays of light. Get the last ray in. So it's kind of like you see the ray that's being sent both from Fredos in the future, whereas the current is sending the message over into Turdos, to where we have the assumed day of the of where the connection point occurs. See what I'm saying? Like the assumed day that we'll get a touchdown, so to speak, when we are able to communicate. This will give us time for our minds to understand that we're sending information back to ourselves, to where we get the information connected, and we create a touchdown on Middas. That's literal Wednesday on Earth days. So what I'm talking about here, like this is Morndos. We're talking to each other over on Frados, which is in the future. Here in a couple of days, we're going to catch up with each other over on Middos. You see what I'm saying? We have to be an intelligent society to where we can understand these things where we don't understand these things right now. Hopefully you guys are understanding a little bit more of how Elder Scrolls works in today's technology. I'm going to take a break. I will be right back. Hopefully you're having a good game night. Just come back here and do some quick thoughts from the previous PTS notes that were being shown. We have a calculated number that's going to be put in for the proposed 10.0.0 version on the server. That's not certain because look at what's happening in ElderScrollsWiki.net. That tells me, and that will tell others, that we're just going to have to go with what we have. The current server version of what we have currently on Steam consoles. I'm not sure about the other consoles because haven't been looking into Xbox and PlayStation. Over on Steam, there is the new version that has come in from the proposed 10.0.0 version on the both the NA and EU server. There is a current version of 9.3.8. That might be the only version that we have. You see what I'm saying? So those of you guys that are reading the information as a 10.0.0, we're expecting that the version is going to go in as 10.0.0. Don't get mad if that doesn't happen. We might have to stay at the 9.3.8. You kind of see what I'm saying? We're going to have some miscalculations come in, and that's going to make some people mad. Yeah, it upset that upsets me a little bit of why the system is not functioning. That's part of the problem. How's the problem going to get fixed? Well, the problem is going to get fixed by us going by faith. And with that, we might just have 9.3.8. We don't want to do that in vain. You see what I'm saying? We don't want to push the computers too far, like some have in the past. So what I'm explaining is we have to start working the system by faith and by the past knowledge that we have. Hopefully, that will explain that in a nutshell. Hope you're having a good night, game night. I will be right back. Okay, this is the theory here of what's going to go on here, of what they're going to do. And this is the theory. The last number here is going to be a 2. When this does end, you'll see what I'm talking about. Right now, the server is at a 9.3.8. What the server has been proposed is at a 10.0.0. Okay. Well, just here recently, a couple hours ago, the system is now being proposed again as a 10.0.1. And so what I'm explaining here, the assumption of there's going to be another update, is it's gonna go to 10.0.2. Is that right? I'm gonna get Elder Scrolls Online on the screen here really quick, of what to show you guys what this means. Okay, so this is the patch notes right here of what was being that was written here just recently. That was patched up from right here in ElderScrollsOnline.com. Right here is showing the 10.0.1. The assumption here, and once the confusion gets understood, most likely this will go at a 10.0.2. Not that I agree with that, but that's the assumption and the theory that of where the server will actually go to where that is understood by the other side. So with that, hopefully that makes a little bit more sense for us. We'll go back here to the monthly calendar here. This is some super fun stuff. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this as much as I enjoy this. So, if you've ever gotten into electronics, you guys remember what electronics. If you remember the foundations, if you don't, well, this is how electronics has been formed. It always goes by the zeros and ones. When we learn from the zeros and ones, we can learn how the system works. So, with that, I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Hopefully, you guys are having a good evening. Just got back here, and hopefully you're having a good game night. This is going to be more of a technical aspect of what's going on, which will be confusing to most people. But I have to explain to those of you guys that are inputting these types of information. This is going to take some faith going into what's going on. These things do need to be paid, and what I'm explaining is those of you guys that are inputting this information, you need to pay people like me back so you understand, so you don't get confused. What I'm explaining with the difference, where the complex matter of what I'm talking about is the difference between a megabyte and a kilobyte. This is stuff that I have not really gotten into, so this is something I don't understand too terribly much about. But what I'm going to explain is where we cannot go above a terabyte. I've explained this before. What this is going to do is we're going to have faith going into the system. We cannot comprehend above a terabyte. And what I'm explaining with what the system has been doing, I've been seeing some mixed signals come into the system. And so what we have to do is we have to go into the system with faith. Because when we don't understand, yeah, that sure bites. That sucks. Now we're going to have to do a little bit more of math formulas going into what the difference between a megabyte and a kilobyte is. When we see megabytes, that's a little bit more understandable. I'm explaining this because I'm seeing the problem before the problem actually occurs. When the problem actually occurs, the people, they take this information and they've heard this information before. They're like, oh, well, I learned this information from that place. And this is the exact segment that needs to be understood, where the problem can be fixed in the future. This is what I'm talking about. By the time the assumed class number comes in, or the version that's going to come in, that's been proposed as 10.0.1. It's most likely going to go in as a 2. But what I'm explaining with the megabyte and kilobyte issue is we have no working knowledge of how that works. There's been previous computer devices that have shown as 70,000 megabytes being downloaded, whereas we're looking at the previous 10.0.0 as a total amount of, I think it was like 5.26 or 5.3 megabytes that was going to be completely downloaded to the system. Currently, what's going on with this is a lot of information coming in. This does take a lot of people getting into the system to making the system work properly. It's fun to put in numbers and see the system work. And when the system doesn't work, when no one understands, what are we going to do? Well, we're not going to call the Ghostbusters. We're going to call upon the Elder Scrolls month calendar. That's what we're going to do. Kind of sounds scary because it is. And with not knowing this information, how do you know it's going to be a 1 or it's going to be a 2? You kind of see what I'm saying? How did we know it was going to be a 10.0.0? It's because there was past records that we were being shown that there was going to be a 10.0.0. However, now we're seeing a 10.0.1. It's not okay. No, it's not okay because the things have not been cleared. Do you kind of see what I'm saying? When the written information is written as a clear coat 10.0.1, you're expecting that it's a 10.0.1. Now, if we get over to 10.0.0 and then people are calling it good, that's good. And see what I'm saying? The assumed overage cannot go over a 10.0.2. Do you understand kind of what I'm saying? Where there's kind of a mess right now going on inside of the system with the uploading of the systems. Some of you guys that have a lower capacity memory device in an Xbox, for example, you're not going to be able to capacitate the memory. Your Xboxes will overheat, just like the Xbox 360s was overheating years ago. It's going to happen to the same thing just as much as to the Xboxes, to the PlayStations, and the Steams. The Steams are running fine. However, we need to have the information to where we can calculate the proper calculations. If we keep on having multiple calculations come in at multiple times and we don't understand what the calculations are, we're not going to understand how to calculate the numbers and have a working knowledge of what the numbers will be. When we calculate the numbers and when we set a number in place, we expect that number to be there. It's kind of like you sitting there, you're like, I'm going to be going and being able to get a 6-pack of Coca-Cola on Friday. But if you don't have enough money, when you expected that you were going to get that money, and if you don't have that money, you're going to be a little upset or you'll be a little bit depressed. So what I'm explaining with getting the necessary amount of numbers, just giving, that's the point of giving. You want to give in order so the system can work properly. If you're not in a proper place and you're trying to intrude upon a place, that's not your place. So you gotta go back to the original place that you were meant to go to. Some people can't go back to that original place. Look what that means. You can't go into a new place that you think you can. Look where you are. You're stuck with where you are. And if you don't like it, that's too bad. That's how that works. And so what I'm explaining here with us going into faith with what the numbers are, that's what we have to go with. I'm not for sure exactly how this is going to work here in the upcoming future, but this is what this looks like. Hope you guys are having a good day and you're understanding a little bit more what I'm talking about. Some of the stuff is very stressful, and hopefully that explained the issue that's going on with the console versions that are coming in on what they're supposed to be. The actual consoles are probably going haywire right now, so just don't get totally mad. I know some of you are going to be very, very upset of what's going on when you can't play your game when you were doing the proper things you always were, and I already know that you were doing the same thing that you were doing and it always worked. And when these new numbers come in, that presents a complex mess, and that's what I'm trying to explain, that we can't go over the numbers that have been proposed in a manly time frame. You know what I'm saying? Like if we have the proposed current 10.0.1, we keep it there. Let's see how that goes, and then that's the best thing. Once we see the 10.0.1 figures inside of the console or consoles, that's what we need to wait for. We can't keep on proposing new numbers. You see what I'm saying? We just saw 10.0.0 yesterday. All of a sudden, we're seeing a 10.0.1. That's a little alert, and I'm trying to explain that so we don't go above the terabyte. You see what I'm saying? If we have malfunctions, what do you do when you have a malfunction? When the malfunctions come in, then our devices get malfunctioned more. What that means is we have to gut our devices, which that's what I'm trying to prevent. I don't know what to say anymore on that part of what's going on. Hope you guys are having a good game night. I will be right back. Hopefully, you're having a good game night. What I'm going to explain here, the system's working perfectly fine, and this just like really alerts me when I'm seeing all the small numbers come in. I'm one of the ones that notices the small numbers come in, and so I'm always kind of alerting that something new is coming in. It's not so pleasant to understand when these new numbers come in how these things have to be paid. What happens in the cycle of payments? Somebody gets paid and just keeps on getting paid, but they don't pay back somebody. That's not right. And so what I'm explaining with the purpose of not going above the numbers. When you look into what's going on with how this is going to be a 10.0.1, this is a literal system that has been calculated. It's going over 10 terabytes in total memory. There's no computer that has the capability of going over a terabyte of memory. Anybody could go over and talk to you about an internal computer. Any internal computer in the world cannot go over a terabyte. The actual chips inside of the computerized system cannot withhold the outside memory of outside a terabyte. And what I'm explaining with that, we can put in external modules onto a device to where we can show that device has extra terabytes. But that's like putting wires on that are not necessary. What I'm explaining with that, look what that does when we put external. I'm just going to use this here really quick as an example inside of the monthly, the monthly calendar. Here's I'm just going to show here real quick. This is the example device. It's just a mere has some buttons, like a keyboard and whatnot with on the device. Well, here's a small external memory device. Here's another external memory device. Okay. Here's another external memory device. Well, here's another external memory device. Here's another external memory device. See what I'm saying? Like the external memory device goes into the device, whereas the other external memory device goes into the device, whereas the other external memory device goes into the device, whereas the other external memory device goes into the device, whereas the other external memory device goes into the device. That is a cause for overheating an individual device, as I'm showing right here. The memory cannot literally capacitate. I've done studies before inside of a system trying to get the memory inside of an individual device. It can't take one individual memory source device getting the memory into an individual computerized device. It takes multiple devices to get the memory in. It can't the outside memory devices cannot completely continually be connected because the magnetism inside of the device will fail. It's because the external memory devices are an external source. The external memory devices have to be disconnected from time to time. They can't be in the device 24 hours at a time. What has to happen is we have to disconnect, connect, disconnect, connect really quick on the important devices of what I'm talking about. And what we need is a second alternative connection. You see what I'm saying? The reason why Elder Scrolls Online has to have two servers, what we call the NA and the EU servers. Those two devices are the devices that carry many branches within Elder Scrolls computers. There's many devices that are using Elder Scrolls in today's technology, and what I'm explaining, the necessary need to not go above a terabyte. And so I'm not sure where this is going to go as far as I'm explaining. Oh yeah, I'm explaining the picture. The pictures won't show up. And what I'm explaining, the improvement that the server has gone through with coming into a 9.3.8 version on the, I guess the Richter scale, you want to call it in computer language. What I'm explaining here, I'm going to go over into the graphics module of what I'm explaining here for you guys with what's just came in. I have transmitted this over in a couple different places, not very many places, but this is the exact bare like game file. This is literally what can get us into the game. Some of you guys might not have known that before, but now you kind of know the reason why you don't want to mess with a picture graphic. You see what I'm saying? As you see, I scroll, and so to speak, going over into the picture. This is where the picture it can't be disturbed, because look, when I scroll goes in, bam! Oh, that. See, ice scroll crashed. When we don't, like, when we have those external devices that have not been properly installed, it crashes of all sorts. And right here, this is the most important thing to understand as the improvement has gone in. We are now having the capability. I've never been able to do this before, and now this is available. So this is a great thing. The whole game picture is available for us to see. You see what I'm saying? We don't have those external buttons, but external screens showing in our screen. Do you see what I'm saying? With the health bar, the location bar, the whatever else is like on the screen, like for like the chat box, like over on the left. Like I think the chat box is over in the left bottom corner of the screen. What I'm talking about for on our consoles. For cake's sake, we've got to make sure these things work. If we don't have our graphics working, we're not going to be able to get back into the game, and we're not going to be able to get back into writing a message, a mere post. This is a beautiful, beautiful picture. I love it. We're back in Webiella. We're back in Webiella. You're like, I don't need it. What you doing there, huh? Anyways, this is the most current information from the improvement from the information that's come in. I've gotten a little bit smarter, and I'm going to get smarter, but I will only go so far in computer languages. So hopefully you guys are having a great game night, and hopefully you're learning a lot more about Elder Scrolls and what to do and what not to do.